A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, let's talk about gout today. The reason I thought it might be a good idea to talk about gout is because just recently my husband has had an episode of gout. And so it really brought home what we have to do, how we're going to look after somebody, how we're going to find the right remedy. And I just thought this was a really interesting topic for us to discuss today because it's got a few remedies that aren't used that often, but boy, do they work. So it's definitely worth knowing about. So let me tell you a little bit about Paul and his experience over the last few weeks. So now my husband is very bad at wearing shoes. Basically, we've lived on a boat for a long time. Doesn't really enjoy wearing shoes. The best I can usually get him to do is wear flip-flops, which obviously isn't that great for going up ladders. And it so happened that we had quite a lot of work to do on our camper van. We were fitting solar panels and doing all sorts of things on the roof. So he was up and down the ladder one day. Now, since we've been in a house now about 9-10 months. Since we've been in the house, every time he has done any work up a ladder, he has got real tendon problem in his right leg. So he's obviously got a real weakness there with the Achilles tendon, and wearing bare feet or flip-flops going up ladders obviously is not sensible. However, unless I'm there to say, no, we need to do something sensible here and put on proper shoes, it just doesn't happen. So anyway, 40 times up and down the ladder in the last couple of weeks. No, this was just in one day a couple of weeks ago. Left him fine at the end of that day. But he woke up the next day with very sore tendon in the back of his calf, and his heel was sore, and his foot actually was okay. He has very high insteps, so I don't think that helps when he's going up and down ladders. But anyway, so for a couple of days he was fine, but then this ligament on the back of the calf was really, really tender, sore, and left him hobbling, basically, so he wasn't able to walk. And slowly over the course of that week, so obviously I gave him a couple of remedies for the tendon just to loosen it a little bit, and also something to rub in. There you can get rust toxin ruta as a cream, which is lovely, and of course arnica as a cream to rub into that tendon is really, really useful. But well, what happened was over the course of the week is that actually the swelling went down into the foot, and it caught him on your first metatarsal bone there with your large toe, and left him with red hot burning throbbing feet, which obviously I was looking at and thinking, okay, well, that's looking like gout. I'm surprised. I didn't even think that you could get gout from an injury in the leg. I didn't consider that. Now, my husband would be a prime target for gout, obviously, originally a remedy that they would say was caused by really rich foods and wines and elder gentlemen, slightly portlier than they should be, fits him down to a T, quite frankly. My husband loves cooking. Everything is the best cooking that he can possibly do. So it wouldn't surprise me that he would be a candidate for gout anyway. But by and large, he doesn't get arthritis. He doesn't get arthritic pains. And obviously he's got an old injury there in his calf. But anyway, this injury, this stretching and bruising of the tendon went down to his foot and definitely caused gout. And it was beyond doubt that it was gout when it was worse when he went to bed, worse when he lay down, to the extent where he couldn't put a cover over his foot. The pain became so intense when he was lying down. And if you look up those symptoms on your foot, you'll soon realize that gout has to be a prime candidate. So what we've got then is certain joints that are red, throbbing, and really, really painful. So painful that no cover can be on it. It is so painful. So fine while he's walking around downstairs and going about daily life. Well, when I say fine, not brilliant, but not excruciating pain. But then the minute he goes to bed, it's excruciating pain. Now, we actually don't have many painkillers or things like that in the house, so it is down to remedies. And obviously, to start with that intense throbbing and pain, he started on a Belladonna because we've got that red, heated, hot worry, really, the intense pain, throbbing, red, hot, and absolute Belladonna picture. Of course, when it starts to get where he's crying out in pain, then I'm thinking Chamomilla, because Chamomilla is a great pain remedy for shouting out in extreme pain. Then he started sweating. So I thought, okay, perhaps I ought to look this up in the book. And of course, there are two remedies that really come out high for gout and these extreme painful situations. One is Colchicum. And actually, if you research Colchicum, it is a remedy that is used a lot in Western medicine. So if you look up Colchicum, you can see where it comes from. Just having a look here, and I have just got colchicine. Doesn't actually see. Oh, Colchicum autumnal is from the meadow saffron. So we'll look up and see what they're actually using in the Western medicine to give Colchicum. But basically what we're needing is the body to break the uric acid down into purines so that it can be excreted out through the urine. So, of course, you can see if people are going to be subject to gout, if they have got these crystal forms under the skin, and it can be anywhere around the joints, knees, toes, toe joints, knees and knuckles, wrists and elbows. So the crystals are very, very fine, but you can feel them through the skin. What we need is those to be broken down and excreted. So whenever we are looking at this and the remedies that might be needed, we have to think, okay, we need to support the kidneys, because we need to make sure that the kidneys are getting rid of whatever it is that needs to be broken down. So we would always give an organ support remedy alongside a detoxing remedy. And of course, this remedy has got to break down and be transferred out through the urine. So what I thought was, let's have a look at Colchicum. So I've got here Kent's Materia Medica, and quite a good write-up on Colchicum here. And he's saying muscular rheumatism and rheumatism with white fibrous tissues of the joints. So also rheumatism with cardiac problems. We might find that there's a lot of cardiac issues in the whole story. It says that colchicum is aggravated by cold, damp weather. And of course, we do associate rheumatoid arthritis with cold, damp weather getting much worse as well. And Paul does always say that his back is always worse in the autumn. He had a water skiing accident in his 20s. So that's what, he has got vertebra problem there with an old injury. So it also can be aggravated in the extreme heat of summer. Now, here in the UK, we don't often get extreme heat in the summer, but of course, around the world, you probably do. Now, the heat will slack up the flow of urine. So that's always worth understanding is how much urine is being produced. And whenever you're looking at symptoms of gout, you do need to be considering this and considering what organ support remedy you might be needing with it. What else is it saying here about colchicum? It is in all the old books, it's recommended for gout. The provings collaborate the fact that colchicum fits many conditions of gout, acute rheumatism, and uric acid diatheses. Rheumatic complaints in general, with or without swelling. Traditional medicine does not tell us what kind of gout to give it to. It was really the medicine of experience. If it's gout, then try colchicum. That's what Kent is saying here. Give the prescription and keep at it. If it's true that colchicum fits into the gouty state, spells of cold, wet weather will slack up the flow of urine and make it scanty. It'll decrease the quantity of solids in the urine, and this takes place in the provings of colchicum and has been verified many, many times. It is well known that such a condition will bring about or intensify the gouty state. So what it's saying is, as your urine decreases, your gouty state becomes worse. So we need to make sure that your urine doesn't decrease. So as well as giving a remedy, we always need to up the liquids, and we need to encourage the kidneys to be producing more urine. Okay, so it's not really giving an awful lot of symptoms here with around the foot. We've got spasmodic pains, tearing pains, burning pains, griping pains, aggravated by motion, tenderness and soreness, aggravated from eating. We've got diarrhea, we've got great soreness in the abdomen, stools. So let's go over to Murphy and see what he's got to say. So I'm looking in Lotus Materia Medica by Robin Murphy. And we'll look at colchicum here. And let's go straight to limbs and see what he has to say. Limbs: lame, weak, tingling, cold, arthritic pain. Patient screams with pain on touching a joint. That was Paul. Joints stiff and hot. Shifting rheumatism. Joints pains much worse at night. Rheumatoid pain in the joints of fingers, the joints of wrists, toes, ankles, and painful gout in the big toe joint. Cannot bear to have it touched or moved. Pain is worse in the evening and worse in warm weather. Tearing in limbs during warm weather. Stinging during the cold. Sharp pain down the left arm, pins and needles in the hands, fingertips numb. So we can see that this is going to be a remedy that's going to be really useful for rheumatoid arthritis in the fingers as well. Bloating of the hands and feet. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at kidneys as well and see what it's saying for kidneys, because we know that this is an associated symptom that we really do have to watch. Burning in the urinary passages before urination, urging, diabetes, nephritis with extreme pain in the kidney region. So we can see that there might well be lots of other aspects that we need to look at. Now, colchicum is not just for this intense pain in the joints. If we look through Murphy's, we've got it listed in every aspect. So the throat, the stools, the sleep, stomach, mouth, heart areas, lungs, food cravings, male, female areas, and mind. And let's have a quick look at the mind to see if anything came up that reminds us of Paul here. So very irritable with the pains much worse from mental exertion or by emotions, intolerant of pains, his suffering seems unendurable, depressed, irritable and sensitive, peevish, nothing satisfies him, discontented. Okay, so extreme impressions with strong odours or bright light or anything seems to aggravate him, sensitive to all external impressions. So we're getting the idea of very, very sensitive, very, very sore and painful for every aspect of this pain. So let's have a quick look at the colchicum in normal medicine. So of course, listing there the reasons, risk factors for gout. Let's just go through that first then. Obviously obesity, heart failure, hypertension, insulin resistant diabetes, poor kidney function. We can understand how that's related. Drinking alcohol is greater, the more alcohol consumed, the higher risk of gout. Eating food and beverages. Now, the interesting thing is that Paul and I actually drink a lot less than we used to in the past. So, you know, it's surprising that he would get that now. But looking at the diet high in purines, organic compounds, are everything Paul loves: anchovies, sardines, mussels, scallops, trout, tuna, any of those fish there, we can see are really really high in gout. And leading to it. So, you know, they are his favourite foods. We can't deny it. Let's have a look to see if I can find a little bit more about the colchicum in Western medicine. So the colchicum isn't a painkiller, but can be very effective at reducing the inflammation caused by urate crystals. Now, often NSAIDs are given as well, steroids or non-steroidal medicines. and lots of painkillers, obviously, you might get if you go to the doctor. So colchicum can interact with several other drugs, including statins taken for high cholesterol, whether you need other medications or not. You should avoid taking colchicum if you have chronic kidney disease. So it's obviously quite a strong medicine there. But what it's really saying here is that they won't just give you colchicine, they'll give you other medications as well. So they'll give steroids, which obviously are to stop that inflammation, and non-steroidal inflammation medications to help prevent it from inflaming and therefore being so painful. So anti-inflammatories are given a lot. They also might then put you on colchicine to prevent attacks. But I would say, obviously, as with all homeopathy, we want to be looking at seeing what is the ultimate problem to prevent attacks. It's no good just being on a medicine all of the time. What we want to do is look at your blood pressure, look at your kidney function. We want to improve that so you're much less susceptible to having the attacks. So allopurinol is most commonly used and very effective with people with gout. It works by reducing the amount of urate that your body makes. Okay, so that we understand then that it's actually making a difference to the amount of urate. I would want to know why your body is creating too much urate and what can be done about that. But all of these things are very interesting for you to find out about. When you go and visit your doctor, always ask, why is my body doing this, and what actually do I need to be looking at reducing or changing in my lifestyle to make sure that I'm not getting these flares. Now, obviously, if you have the tophi, the crystals in your joints, in your heels, around your ankles, in your fingers, then what can you be doing about that? And the first thing for you to consider is give yourself a kidney support remedy. So obviously the colchicum, berberis, cantharis, there are lots of kidney support remedies that you might just want to help make sure that your body is cleaning out everything that it needs to do on a daily basis. So I hope this is useful for you, just to be able to go through, understand what is happening when we get these symptoms, how we look at the symptoms in order to find particular remedies. When I look at, for instance, something like gout, I will go through and always have a couple of remedies on standby, especially if we've got that intense pain. So a remedy that's really good for pain, and also a remedy that's specific for the pain and the inflammation in that joint. That's what we're looking for. So I hope this was useful, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I hope you found that useful today. Next week, we will be talking to two homeopaths just about the community around the world, about being able to connect with other people talking about homeopathy around the world. So that will be Kirsty and Alex coming in to talk to us about what homeopathy is like in their part of the world, and how us connecting on internet can change everything in our own little communities as well as homeopathy around the world. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and please leave me any comments, send us some feedbacks, tell us what you would like to hear about in our podcasts. Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.